As we contemplate the diverse terrains of our planet, it becomes evident that Earth conceals numerous enigmas from us. This ancient world, existing for 4.5 billion years, vastly predates the presence of humans. However, one might assume that by this point, we would have a fundamental understanding of our surroundings. We identify trees as trees and mountains as mountains, don't we? Yet there exists a provocative notion challenging this notion. Join us on Off the Grid Seeker as we delve into the intriguing theory proposing that mountains might in fact be akin to trees. Are you in search of answers to profound questions and possess an insatiable curiosity? If so, consider subscribing for more content like this one, and don't forget to activate notifications for additional thought-provoking material. The Flat Earth conspiracy theory has now arguably gained the status of the most widely recognized conspiracy theory. Notably, several celebrities and prominent figures have promoted its attention-grabbing claims. Surprisingly, however, proponents of this theory themselves cannot reach a consensus regarding the flat Earth's structure. Some assert that the Earth is a disk surrounded on all sides by colossal ice sheets in Antarctica, supposedly guarded by NASA. Conversely, others contend that there is no discernible edge to the flat Earth, positing that its plane extends infinitely. While the flat Earth theory is already peculiar in our contemporary era, it has spawned an even more eccentric theory. In 2016, a video surfaced on a YouTube account that has since been removed, presenting the notably peculiar "no forests on flat Earth" theory, which initially garnered some attention. Since then, these concepts have become integral to certain flat Earth beliefs. The astonishing theory posits that what we perceive as ordinary trees are in reality mere bushes and shrubs, shadows of their once vastly larger and more magnificent former selves. According to this theory, ancient trees were colossal structures that soared miles high into the sky. Consequently, the forests we encounter today are not authentic forests, as the genuine ones have ceased to exist. That's the essence of the theory, but what is the actual explanation behind it? The fundamental essence of the "no forests" concept appears to assert that the Earth, as we know it today, lacks the grandeur and immense scale it once possessed. In certain respects, this perspective may be seen as reasonable. Even within mainstream scientific circles, there is agreement that Earth has experienced periods of greater abundance in the past, featuring entirely distinct and often larger life forms. To the extent that if we were somehow transported back in time, we might mistake the ancient Earth for an entirely alien and unrecognizable planet compared to our present-day world. However, if the "no forests" notion proposes the existence of giant trees amid these ancient landscapes, a surprising assertion follows, that the visible remnants of those colossal ancient trees still exist today, scattered throughout our surroundings, commonly referred to as mountains. As per the theory, which is crucially devoid of support from conventional scientific or research sources, mountains are posited as remnants of ancient trees, offering evidence of these once towering structures. Mountains are likened to vast, sprawling, ruggedly hewn tree stumps, according to this perspective. The trees of antiquity, which no longer exist, were purportedly towering at heights of around 40 to 50 miles, and had trunks extending over multiple miles in width. Understandably, it is suggested that these colossal trees completely dominated the landscape. Consequently, our mountains are viewed as the remains of these trees, their vestiges, with the "no forest" theory contending that there is evidence to support this claim if one scrutinizes mountains closely enough. The original video, which has since been removed from YouTube, featured a collection of images showcasing well-known mountains and landmarks, drawing comparisons between them and tree trunks. For instance, it suggested that Uluru in Australia, a substantial yet somewhat flat island mountain, strikingly resembled a colossal tree stump. According to the theory, Uluru was once a towering tree, but its transformation into its current form is attributed to some form of destruction. Additionally, Devil's Tower in Wyoming, USA, a prominent formation with nearly vertical sides, was posited as resembling a tree that was felled before reaching its full height. The Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland, characterized by its iconic basalt columns, is presented as evidence supporting an entirely different historical narrative, with claims that the causeway's hexagonal pattern must have a connection to organic life. In essence, this theory requires a substantial suspension of disbelief or skepticism, depending on one's perspective, urging us to reconsider these monuments, among others, not in their familiar context but as the remnants of fallen trees. Trees that were once magnificent and enormous but have long since perished. One immediately noticeable distinction is the stark contrast between the composition of tree wood and the substance of the rocks that comprise our mountains. However, the no-forest perspective introduces yet another astonishing assertion. According to this viewpoint, rocks, in fact, do not truly exist either. The theory contends that all the rocks we encounter in our everyday lives, whether they are tiny pebbles or massive cliff faces, are nothing more than debris left behind by ancient trees. The general notion is that if you've ever held a rock in your hand, you've actually held a part of a long-deceased tree's body. Naturally, scientists, scholars, researchers, and the majority of others immediately identify numerous significant issues with this concept, even though it's far from the only problematic aspect of the theory. In reality, the inherent differences between rocks and trees in the real world are substantial. However, in this reinterpretation of how the world operates, they are considered to be one and the same. Once again, if the conventional flat Earth theory wasn't peculiar enough, this extension of it certainly takes it to another level of strangeness. Finally, the concluding segment of the no-forest theory endeavors to elucidate the fate of the ancient trees, which, if they indeed existed, must have undergone a genuinely catastrophic deforestation event, nearly eradicating them from Earth's landscape. Advocates propose several potential scenarios, including the possibility of a monumental flood, or the notion that their demise was attributed to a lost civilization of giants. Another hypothesis suggests that a massive wildfire engulfed the Earth at some point, devastating the terrain and consuming the trees, leaving behind only the stumps, or mountains, we observe today. Perhaps the most perplexing explanation offered posits that the trees were annihilated in a prehistoric nuclear conflict, even predating the conventional timeline of human history regarding the invention of nuclear weapons. More broadly, the theory entertains the idea that humanity, in some capacity, bears responsibility for the disappearance of these ancient, towering forests, potentially utilizing them for energy during an epoch or era that remains shrouded in obscurity. Alternatively, it is proposed that the trees were felled to prevent them from breaching the celestial dome that certain versions of flat Earth theory assert encapsulates our world. Various conjectures have been put forth regarding the fate of these trees, but perhaps this aspect of the theory, more than any other, exposes its internal inconsistencies. To summarize the core concept once more, the theory posits that the absence of forests on Earth stems from the fact that genuine trees of their colossal ancestors no longer exist. The trees we encounter today are minuscule shrubs in comparison to their towering forebears. The remnants of these ancient trees, it is asserted, constitute our mountains, which are essentially the remaining colossal tree trunks. It's crucial to emphasize that this assertion lacks support from mainstream scientific research, and has even led to divisions within the flat Earth movement itself, prompting many flat earthers to distance themselves from it. Arguably, the sole scientifically substantiated fact that can be extracted from this entire narrative is the consensus that Earth was notably more lush and verdant in the past, boasting substantially more forested areas across the global landscape than it currently does. This transformation is primarily attributed to human urbanization. Today, our habitats consist of urban centers, towns, and villages, interconnected by commutes and air travel, with far fewer expanses of greenery. Undeniably, times have evolved, and opinions on whether it's an improvement or deterioration may vary. However, the notion that colossal trees once soared miles into the sky, to the extent that mountains, those vast geological formations, are nothing more than remnants of a bygone era, remains an intriguing concept. While it presents an entertaining premise, it's not one that garners significant attention from the scientific community. Nonetheless, it persists as the peculiar theory that mountains could be equated to trees. Your thoughts matter. Is there something we might have overlooked? Share your insights in the comments section, explore additional content from Off the Grid Seeker, and be sure to subscribe and activate notifications to stay updated with our newest releases.